Captain Velthara stared at the display screen in front of her bridge. The green dots showed empty space just like they had for the past 3 weeks. Her ship, the Kethmore, moved slowly through the dark between stars. She was tired of looking at nothing. "Captain, we have something strange on the sensors," said Morden from his station. The science officer's 6 arms moved quickly over his controls. His blue skin turned darker when he was excited, and right now it was almost purple. Velthara walked over to his station. Her people, the Zephyrians, were tall and thin with silver skin that changed color with their mood. Right now, hers was a calm gray, but that might change soon. "What do you see?" she asked. Morden pointed at his screen. "There is something big hiding in that asteroid field. Very big. It is made of metal, but it does not match any ship in our database." The captain looked at the readings. The object was huge, bigger than any ship she had ever seen. Her own vessel was considered large at half a mile long, but this thing was at least 4 times that size. Could it be a space station? She wondered out loud. "No, Captain. Look at the shape. It is long and narrow like a ship. But the design is all wrong. I have never seen anything like it." Velthara felt her skin turn a worried yellow. In all her years exploring space for the Zephyrian Alliance, she had never found anything this strange. The Alliance knew about all the major species in this part of the galaxy. They had been mapping space for over 1,000 years. "Move us closer," she ordered. "But keep our distance. If this is a ship, we do not know if it is friendly." The Kethmore changed course toward the asteroid field. As they got closer, more details appeared on their screens. The mystery ship was dark and silent. No lights, no energy readings, no signs of life. It looked dead, but it was clearly artificial. The hull was smooth and covered with strange markings that looked like writing. There were weapon ports along the sides, more than Velthara had ever seen on one ship. This thing was built for war. "Morden, can you read those symbols?" she asked. The science officer worked at his station for several minutes. "No, Captain. The computer cannot match them to any known language. This ship was built by someone we have never met." Velthara felt her skin turn bright yellow now. This was exactly the kind of discovery that could change everything. A new species with technology that looked more advanced than anything the Alliance had. She needed to contact home right away. "Open a channel to Alliance Command on Zephyr Prime," she ordered her communications officer. It took 20 minutes for the message to travel across space, and 20 more for the reply to come back. When it did, the voice of Admiral Kreshitar filled the bridge. "Captain Velthara, you are to maintain your position and continue monitoring the object. Do not attempt to board or make contact. A full research team is being sent to your location. They will arrive in 6 days." "Understood, Admiral," Velthara replied. She was disappointed. 6 days of just watching and waiting. But those 6 days passed quickly. The research team arrived with 3 ships full of scientists, soldiers, and diplomats. They had equipment. They could scan the mystery ship in ways the Kethmore could not. Dr. Yarseth, the head scientist, was excited about what they found. The hull metal was stronger than anything they knew how to make. The ship's design showed an understanding of physics that impressed even Alliance engineers. "Whoever built this knew things we are still learning," Dr. Yarseth told the assembled captains. "The question is, where are they now? And why is their ship here, alone in empty space?" That question was answered 2 days later. Velthara was on her bridge when all the screens suddenly lit up. The dead ship was coming alive. Lights appeared along its hull in patterns that pulsed like a heartbeat. Energy readings spiked across all frequencies. "Captain, it is powering up!" Morden shouted from his station. "All systems are activating at once." Before anyone could respond, their communication system crackled to life. A voice filled the bridge, speaking in a language none of them recognized. But somehow impossibly they all understood every word. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Force vessel Liberty's Edge. We are humans. We come in peace, but we are prepared for war." The bridge fell silent. Velthara felt her skin turn white with shock. She had been exploring space, for 30 years and had never heard of Earth or humans. The voice continued. We have been in deep sleep for a very long time. Our sensors show multiple ships nearby. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions. Dr. Yarseth was the first to recover. He activated his communicator and spoke carefully. Unknown vessel, this is Dr. Yarseth of the Zephyrian Alliance. We discovered your ship and we're studying it. We mean no harm. We are scientists and explorers. There was a long pause. Then the human voice spoke again. Zephyrian Alliance? That name is not in our database. How long have we been asleep? More lights appeared on the huge ship. Weapon systems that had been dark for centuries began to glow with power. The Alliance fleet suddenly felt very small and helpless. We do not know how long you have been here, Dr. Yarseth replied honestly. Our records go back 3,000 years, and we have never heard of humans or Earth. Another pause, longer this time. When the human captain spoke again, his voice was quieter, more thoughtful. 3,000 years, he repeated. That would explain why our star charts do not match what we are seeing. The galaxy has changed while we slept. On the Alliance ships, alarms began to sound. The human vessel was launching smaller ships, dozens of them. They spread out in a perfect formation surrounding the Alliance fleet. Do not be alarmed, Captain, Morrison's voice said. We are conducting reconnaissance. We need to understand our situation before we proceed. You will not be harmed if you do not threaten us. Velthara watched the human fighters move through space. They were fast and graceful, clearly built by people who understood warfare very well. Each one looked powerful enough to destroy her ship. Captain Morrison, she said, activating her own communicator. I am Captain Velthara of the exploration vessel Kethmore. The Zephyrian Alliance is peaceful. We explore space to learn and make friends with new species. We do not want to fight. That is good to hear, Captain Velthara. We have been searching for new worlds and new peoples for a very long time. Perhaps we can help each other. But even as he spoke those peaceful words, the human warship continued to power up its massive weapons. The message was clear. Humans wanted peace, but they were ready for anything else. In the depths of space, two very different civilizations had found each other. What happened next would shape the future of the Yao entire galaxy. The meeting room on the Alliance flagship was filled with nervous energy. Representatives from 6 different species sat around a large table, all staring at the 3 humans who had just entered. Captain Jake Morrison walked in first, followed by a woman with short brown hair and a man carrying a medical bag. Morrison was tall and broad-shouldered, with gray hair and sharp blue eyes. He wore a dark blue uniform with many medals and patches. The woman beside him was Commander Lisa Brooks, and she moved like a soldier ready for battle. The third human was Dr. Kevin Walsh, older than the others with kind eyes and gentle hands. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, Dr. Yarseth said, his voice careful and polite. We are very curious about your people and your long journey. Morrison sat down and looked around the table. We are curious about you too, Doctor. When we left Earth, we thought we were alone in the galaxy. Finding so many different species working together is surprising. Tell us about Earth, said Captain Velthara. What was your world like? The 3 humans exchanged glances. Morrison's face grew sad for a moment before he began to speak. Earth was beautiful once. Blue oceans, green forests, snow-covered mountains. But by the time we left, it was dying. Too many people, not enough clean air or water. The climate was changing, and we could not fix it fast enough. Dr. Walsh opened his medical bag and pulled out a small device. He activated it, and a hologram appeared above the table showing a planet covered in gray clouds and brown landscapes. This is what Earth looked like when we left in 2089, Walsh said quietly. 12 billion people living in cities that reached into the sky. The oceans were too warm, the air was too dirty, and the soil would not grow enough food. The aliens around the table stared at the image. Some of their faces showed horror, others showed sadness. So you left to find new worlds? Asked Morden. Not just us, Commander Brooks said. Humanity built a fleet of 500 ships. Each one carried 50,000 people. We spread out across the galaxy, looking for planets where we could start. Over. 500 ships? Dr. Yarseth's voice was shocked. That means 25 million humans left Earth? More than that, Morrison replied. Some ships were bigger than ours. We estimate that 30 million humans are now scattered across the stars. The Liberty's Edge was part of Battle Group 7. We were supposed to explore the outer rim and establish colonies in this sector. Captain Velthara felt her skin turn pale blue with worry. 30 million humans, all looking for new homes, all traveling in warships like the massive vessel outside. The Alliance had never dealt with anything like this before. Why did you sleep for so long? She asked. We did not plan to, Morrison answered. Our mission was supposed to take 50 years. We would find suitable planets, establish colonies, and report back to Earth. But something went wrong with our navigation systems during a jump through hyperspace. We ended up far from where we were supposed to be. Dr. Walsh touched another control on his device. The hologram changed to show a star map with a red line marking a path through space. We were lost, Walsh explained. Our computers could not match the stars we saw with our charts. We spent months trying to find our way back to known space. When that failed, we decided to enter deep sleep and let the ship search automatically. The ship has been flying itself for 300 years? Morden asked in amazement. Our artificial intelligence is very advanced, Brooks said with pride. It kept us alive, maintained the ship, and searched for signs of civilization. When it detected your vessels, it woke us up. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Dr. Yarzeth asked the question everyone was thinking. Captain Morrison, your ship carries many weapons. Are humans a warlike species? Morrison's face became hard. We learned to be. Earth was not a peaceful place when we left. Nations fought over the remaining resources. Cities went to war over clean water. Space itself became a battlefield as different countries tried to claim the best colony sites. But that does not mean we want to fight you, Dr. Walsh added quickly. We are explorers now, not conquerors. We just want to find a place where our people can live in peace. Brooks leaned forward. Though we will defend ourselves if attacked. The Liberty's Edge is armed because space can be dangerous. We have encountered hostile forces before. This made several aliens shift uncomfortably in their seats. The Zephyrian Alliance had been peaceful for over 1,000 years. They had rules against building weapons of war. What kind of hostile forces? Captain Velthara asked. Pirates, mostly, Morrison replied, and one species that attacked us without warning, near the Vega system. They called themselves the Devourers. They tried to board our ship and capture our people. What happened to them? Brooks asked the question, and her smile was cold. We destroyed their fleet, all 12 ships. They learned that humans do not surrender easily. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. The Alliance representatives looked at each other with worried expressions. Dr. Yarseth cleared his throat. Captain Morrison, the Alliance has strict rules about violence. We believe that all conflicts can be solved through talking and compromise. That is a nice idea, Doctor, Morrison said, but it only works when both sides want peace. Some species only understand strength. Perhaps we could learn from each other, Dr. Walsh suggested, trying to change the mood. We have medical technology that might help your people, and you clearly have knowledge about this part of the galaxy that we need. The doctor activated his device again. This time it showed detailed scans of alien biology. Our scanners have detected several health problems among your crew members, Walsh said gently. I believe we can help. Human medicine has advanced greatly over the past 3 centuries. Dr. Yarseth looked interested despite his worries about human weapons. What kind of problems? The Zephyrian captain has early signs of cellular decay that could become serious. The Corvin representative has a respiratory infection that your medicine has not been able to cure, and you, doctor, have nerve damage that is causing you pain. The room fell silent. Walsh was right about all of them, but how could he know these things just from looking? Our medical scanners are very advanced, Walsh explained. We can see problems before they become serious and fix them before they cause real damage. Could you really cure the wasting sickness? asked a small, furry alien from the far end of the table. My people have suffered from it for generations. I believe so, Walsh replied kindly. If you let me examine some patients, I think I can develop a treatment. This changed everything. The wasting sickness had killed millions of Alliance citizens over the centuries. If humans could cure it, they would be heroes to every species in the galaxy. But Morrison's next words reminded everyone of the bigger picture. We are willing to share our medical knowledge, he said, but we need something in return. We need star charts, information about safe planets, and permission to establish colonies in this sector. And what if we refuse? Asked the Corvan representative, General Thokvar. He was a large, red-skinned warrior who respected strength. Morrison's blue eyes grew cold. Then we will find what we need elsewhere. The galaxy is large, General. There are many places where 30 million humans could make new homes. The threat was clear but politely spoken. Humans would prefer to work with the Alliance, but they would not be stopped from achieving their goals. As the meeting ended, Captain Velthara realized that everything had changed. The Alliance had always been the most advanced civilization in this part of space. Now they had met humans who might be even more advanced and were certainly more dangerous. The question was whether humans would become friends or enemies, and that choice might not be entirely up to the Alliance. 3 weeks had passed since the first meeting, and the Alliance Council chamber on Zephyr Prime was busier than it had been in decades. Representatives from all 12 member species filled the curved seats that surrounded the central speaking platform. The air hummed with nervous conversation in a dozen different languages. Prime Minister Zarthek stood at the center of the chamber. His people, the Etherians, were tall and graceful with skin that glowed softly in different colors. Right now his glow was a worried orange as he called for silence. Fellow members of the Alliance, he began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber. We face a decision that will shape our future for generations to come. The humans have requested full membership in our Alliance and permission to establish colonies in our space. We must decide how to respond. On the platform beside him stood Captain Morrison, Commander Brooks, and Dr. Walsh. They had been invited to speak directly to the Council, something that had never been offered to outsiders before. Before we hear from our guests, Zarthek continued, let us review what we have learned. Dr. Yarseth, please share your report. The Zephyrian scientist stepped forward. His blue skin was darker than usual, showing his excitement about the discoveries of the past 3 weeks. The humans have shared medical knowledge that has already saved thousands of lives, he said. Dr. Walsh has developed cures for 17 diseases that have plagued our species for centuries. The wasting sickness that killed my own brother is now completely treatable. Murmurs of amazement filled the chamber. The small, furry Vixani representative stood up and spoke in their high musical voice. My people have suffered from the bone rot for 800 years. In just 2 weeks, human medicine has healed children who were dying. We owe them a debt we can never repay. But not everyone was impressed by human medicine. General Thokvar, of the Corvan Empire, stood up, his red skin darker with anger. Yes, they can heal diseases, he said in his deep, rumbling voice. But they can also destroy planets. I have seen the weapon systems on their ship. One human vessel could defeat our entire fleet. That is exactly why we should welcome them, said Ambassador Silvera of the Aquatic Confederation. Her webbed hands gestured gracefully as she spoke. Better to have such power as our friend than our enemy. Prime Minister Zarthek raised his hand for silence. Captain Morrison, the Council would like to hear from you directly. What do humans truly want from the Alliance? Morrison stepped forward. His blue uniform was perfectly pressed and his gray hair was neatly combed. He looked like a soldier, but his voice was calm and diplomatic. We want what every species wants, he said. A safe place to live, raise our children, and contribute to something larger than ourselves. We have been wandering the stars for 3 centuries. We are tired of being homeless. But you have weapons, interrupted Council Member Carthun of the Silicon Brotherhood. His rocky, crystalline body clinked as he moved. The Alliance has been peaceful for 1,000 years. How can we trust a species that builds such instruments of war? Morrison's face became serious. Counselor, peace is a luxury that only the strong can afford. You have been peaceful because no one has challenged you. But the galaxy is larger than Alliance space, and not everyone shares your values. Commander, Brooks stepped forward beside her captain. 3 days ago, our long-range sensors detected a fleet of 40 warships moving toward Alliance territory. They belong to the Nexus Coalition, a group of species that believes the strong should rule the weak. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. The Nexus Coalition was known to Alliance intelligence, but they had never come this far into Alliance space before. General Thokvar's eyes gleamed with interest. How many ships did you say? 40? 43 to be exact, Brooks replied. All heavily armed, all moving in battle formation. They will reach your outer colonies in 6 weeks. Prime Minister Zarthek felt his glow turn pale yellow with fear. The Alliance had no military fleet. They had 12 patrol ships and some police vessels, but nothing that could fight a real war. What do they want? He asked. The same thing every conqueror wants, Morrison said. Your worlds, your resources, your people as slaves. We have fought the Nexus before. They do not negotiate, they do not show mercy, and they never stop until they are defeated. Dr. Walsh stepped forward with his medical bag. We can show you what they do to conquered populations, he said sadly. We have treated refugees from Nexus attacks. The physical damage heals, but the fear in their eyes never goes away. The chamber was silent now. Every representative was thinking the same thing. The Alliance had no way to fight off such an attack. General Thokvar was the first to speak. Captain Morrison, would humans help us fight this Nexus coalition? Morrison looked at the Corvin general for a long moment. That depends on the Alliance. Are we members with full rights and responsibilities? Or are we just hired soldiers you call when you need protection? What difference does it make? Thokvar asked impatiently. All the difference in the galaxy, Brooks answered. Members fight to protect their home. Hired soldiers fight for pay and leave when the contract ends. Prime Minister Zartek understood the choice they faced. Accept humans as equals and gain their protection, or reject them and face the Nexus alone. But other council members had different concerns. Elder Nyx of the Peaceful Order stood on her thin, insect-like legs. If we accept humans, we become like them, she said in her whispering voice. We will build weapons, train for war, and lose the peace that makes us who we are. Elder Nyx, Dr. Walsh said gently. Peace without the ability to defend it is just helplessness with a pretty name. We do not want to change who you are. We want to make sure you survive to remain who you are. The debate continued for hours. Some species wanted immediate human membership. Others feared what humans might do once they had a foothold in Alliance space. A few suggested compromise solutions that satisfied no one. Finally, Prime Minister Zarthek called for a recess. The human delegation was escorted to private quarters while the council debated in secret. In their guest room, the 3 humans sat. Quietly, Morrison stared out the window at the beautiful cities of Zephyr Prime. Everything was clean and peaceful, like Earth had been in the old stories. Do you think they will accept us? Dr. Walsh asked. They will, Brooks said confidently. They do not have a choice. When those Nexus ships arrive, they will need us. Morrison was not so sure. Maybe. But even if they accept us now, what happens after we save them? Will they still want us around when the danger is over? That is a problem for tomorrow, Walsh replied. Today we just need to convince them to survive. Hours later, the council reconvened. Prime Minister Zarthek looked tired, and his glow was a neutral white that revealed nothing about the decision. Captain Morrison, he said formally, the council has made its choice. By a vote of 7 to 5, the Alliance accepts humanity. As a probationary member, you will have 6 months to prove that you can work within our system of laws and values. Morrison felt relief wash over him. It was not everything he had hoped for, but it was enough. Thank you, Prime Minister, he said. We will not disappoint you. But even as he spoke those words, alarms began to sound throughout the building. An aide rushed to Prime Minister Zarthek and whispered urgently in his ear. The Prime Minister's glow turned bright red with alarm. "The Nexus fleet has changed course," he announced to the chamber. "They are moving faster than expected. They will reach our border colonies in 10 days, not 6 weeks. Morrison looked at Brooks and Walsh. The test of human intentions would come much sooner than anyone had planned. War was coming to the Peaceful Alliance, and everything would depend on whether humans truly meant what they said about protecting their new home. The bridge of the Liberty's Edge was alive with activity as crew members prepared for battle. Captain Morrison stood in the center, watching the main screen that showed 43 enemy ships approaching the Alliance border world of Kepler-7. The Nexus Coalition fleet looked like a swarm of angry insects moving through space. "Enemy fleet will reach Kepler-7 in 4 hours, reported Lieutenant Sam Parker from the navigation station. "The colony has 2 million civilians and no defenses." Morrison turned to Commander Brooks at the tactical station. "What do we have?" "The Liberty's Edge and 12 Alliance patrol ships," Brooks replied, "against 43 Nexus warships. Not good odds, Jake." Dr. Walsh entered the bridge carrying his medical scanner. His face was grim as he approached the captain. "I have been monitoring Nexus communications," he said quietly. "They are not planning to take prisoners. The transmissions talk about cleansing the colony and making it ready for Nexus settlers." Morrison felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. "How long until the Alliance evacuation ships arrive?" 6 hours, Walsh replied. 2 hours too late. The captain looked at the screen again. Those were not just numbers on a display. 2 million people were about to die unless someone stopped the Nexus fleet. And the only ship capable of fighting them was the Liberty's Edge. "Sir," said Ensign Carol Chen from the communications station, "Prime Minister Zarthek is requesting to speak with you." Morrison nodded, and the alien leader's glowing face appeared on the screen. His usual calm was gone, replaced by desperate worry. "Captain Morrison, our evacuation ships cannot reach Kepler-7 in time. The colonists are trapped." "I understand, Prime Minister." "The Council is meeting in emergency session," Zarthek continued. "Some members want to surrender the colony to save lives. Others want to fight with whatever ships we have." Morrison could hear arguing voices in the background of the transmission. The Alliance was falling apart just when they needed to be strong. "What do you want me to do?" Morrison asked. Zarthek was quiet for a moment. "The Council has not authorized military action. If you attack the Nexus fleet, you will be acting without Alliance approval." The message was clear. If Morrison saved the colony, the Alliance could claim they had not broken their peaceful principles. If he failed, they could say the humans acted without permission. "I understand, Prime Minister," Morrison said again, and ended the transmission. Commander Brooks looked at her captain. "So what do we do?" Morrison stared at the screen showing the approaching enemy fleet. 2 million innocent people were about to die. The Alliance was too paralyzed by politics to act. But humans had learned long ago that sometimes the right choice was not the legal choice. "We fight," he said simply. The bridge crew began working with the efficiency that came from years of training. The Liberty's Edge changed course toward Kepler-7 at maximum speed. Behind them, the 12 Alliance patrol ships struggled to keep up. "Captain," called Lieutenant Parker, "we are receiving a transmission from the Nexus fleet commander." "Get through." A harsh voice filled the bridge, speaking in broken Alliance common. "Unknown human ship, you will withdraw immediately. This system belongs to the Nexus Coalition now." Morrison activated his communication system. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Force. These people are under our protection. Withdraw your fleet and no one needs to die today." Ugly laughter came through the speakers. "1 ship against 43? You humans are either very brave or very stupid." "We are both," Morrison replied calmly. "Last warning. Leave now or face the consequences." The transmission ended with more laughter. On the tactical display, the Nexus ships began to spread out in an attack formation. Dr. Walsh checked his scanner again. "The colony is broadcasting on all frequencies begging for help. There are families down there, Jake. Children. Morrison's jaw tightened. Lisa, what is our weapons status? All systems ready, Captain, Brooks reported. Plasma cannons charged, missile tubes loaded, point defense systems online. Good. Remember, we are not just fighting for ourselves today. We are fighting for what humans can become in this galaxy. The two fleets met in the space between Kepler-7 and its small moon. The Nexus ships opened fire first, sending hundreds of energy beams and missiles toward the human warship. But the Liberty's edge was not where they expected it to be. Evasive maneuvers, Morrison ordered calmly. The massive human ship moved like a dancer, spinning and diving between the enemy attacks. Its advanced engines and hull design allowed it to avoid most of the incoming fire. The few hits that connected barely scratched its powerful shields. Return fire, Morrison commanded. The Liberty's edge unleashed its weapons, plasma cannons that could melt through asteroid belts carved through Nexus hulls like they were made of paper. Missiles with human guidance systems found their targets, no matter how the enemy ships tried to dodge. In the first exchange, 6 Nexus ships exploded into balls of fire. The others pulled back, clearly shocked by the human ship's firepower. But the battle was far from over. The Nexus commander was cruel but not stupid. He ordered his remaining ships to surround the Liberty's edge and attack from all sides at once. They are trying to overwhelm our defenses, Brooks reported as explosions lit up around them. Shields down to 60%. Morrison watched the tactical display. The Alliance patrol ships were trying to help, but their small weapons could barely scratch the Nexus hulls. This was still a fight between the humans and the Coalition. Target their command ship, Morrison ordered. If we cut off their head, the body will die. The Liberty's edge charged through the enemy formation, its weapons blazing. Nexus ships tried to block its path, but human engineering was too advanced. The warship's hull could take punishment that would destroy lesser vessels. Dr. Walsh monitored the battle from his medical station. Jake, I am reading massive energy buildup in the Nexus command ship. I think they are preparing some kind of super weapon. On the main screen, the largest Nexus vessel began to glow with dangerous red light. Energy crackled along its hull as it aimed toward the planet below. They are going to bombard the colony from orbit, Brooks realized with horror. Morrison did not hesitate. Full speed toward their command ship. All power to forward shields. Sir, if we get too close when that weapon fires, it will destroy us too, Lieutenant Parker warned. Then we better make sure it does not fire, Morrison replied. The Liberty's edge raced toward the enemy command ship like a spear thrown by an angry god. Nexus fighters tried to stop it, but the human point defense systems swatted them aside. Larger ships moved to intercept, but they were too slow. The Nexus weapon was almost ready to fire when the human warship reached it. At point-blank range, the Liberty's edge unleashed everything it had. Plasma cannons, missile salvos, and energy. Beams all struck the enemy ship at once. The Nexus command vessel exploded in a brilliant flash that could be seen from the planet's surface. The shockwave sent both ships tumbling through space, but only one of them survived. With their leader dead, the remaining Nexus ships lost their coordination. Some tried to continue the attack, but human weapons picked them off one by one. Others attempted to retreat, but the Alliance patrol ships had finally found their courage and blocked the escape routes. Within an hour, the battle was over. The space around Kepler-7 was filled with the wreckage of 37 Nexus warships. The remaining 6 had surrendered when they realized they could not win. On the planet below, 2 million colonists watched the sky and cheered. They had been saved by the humans they had been taught to fear. Dr. Walsh treated the wounded from both sides in the medical bay of the Liberty's edge. Even injured Nexus prisoners received the same care as Alliance patrol ship crews. This was the human way: fight fiercely when necessary, but show mercy when the fighting was done. Captain Morrison stood on his bridge looking at the peaceful planet they had saved. His uniform was torn, and his face was tired, but his eyes were satisfied. "Captain," said Ensign Chen, "we are receiving transmissions from all over Alliance space. The news of the battle has spread. They are calling you the savior of Kepler-7. Morrison smiled slightly. "I am just a soldier doing his job." But the battle had done more than save one colony. It had shown the galaxy what humans could be. Not conquerors seeking to dominate, but protectors willing to risk everything for innocent lives. Prime Minister Zarthek's face appeared on the main screen, and his glow was now a warm gold of gratitude and respect. Captain Morrison, the Alliance Council has voted unanimously. Humanity is granted full membership with all rights and privileges. Welcome home. Morrison looked around his bridge at his crew, then back at the alien leader who had become a friend. Thank you, Prime Minister. We are honored to serve. The human warship that had been discovered in deep space, ready to conquer, had instead become the foundation of peace. Humanity had found something better than new worlds to rule. They had found a family among the stars.